Oh, that used to be easier when I was younger. Okay, today I've gotten a couple questions on the cargo rack, and I'm gonna just run you through it. Basically the build process, the size, the cost, the weight, deck box, accessories. Hey, it's written on there, so we have to do it. All right, so let's start off talking about the size. The actual width, 92 inches. From basically the outside left of the trailer to the back right of the trailer, 92 inches wide, 30 inches long, and I'll say the deck part, which is basically everything from here up, this is what it's made out of. 1/8 inch angle iron, which is this piece right here, and 1 inch expanded metal, which is the surface of the actual deck. Next piece underneath. So you have, from back here is basically the what I call a C channel, or it can't be C channel. I've got a rectangular tube, which is this piece right here. So that rectangular tube comes out of the back of the trailer, and underneath, roughly about 6 to 8 inches out to where this cargo deck is, that is welded to the I-beam. So this is looking into the trailer, your I-beam right here, so it sits real snug right inside here, and it's been welded all up inside this I-beam. That I-beam piece is 4 inches tall, and it's roughly 2 inches wide. So when you have that all in conjunction, it is inside this I-beam, it sticks out. Let me draw it. So here's the end of the trailer and the I-beam. The 4-inch rectangular tube comes out like that. The next piece that comes on top of it is a C channel. The C channel is 3 inches tall, 2.5 inches wide, and it's made of 1/4 inch walled steel. So when this C channel comes out, it's basically overlapping, and it runs all the way out and back over the top of that rectangle tubing. So that's kind of in essence how we get the sub frame of the deck. Now, the deck itself, you can build these 100 different ways. I went down to a local guy, he works on trailers, and I said, hey man, I need to put all the crap that I have in my trailer right now that I just don't have space for as a full-timer. This trailer is awesome for weekenders. It has plenty of storage for you, but if you go full-time, it's not like a fifth wheel or an A-class where you have all that basement storage. It's really vital. So Heather's taken over all the storage basically that has anything to do with the trailer. Therefore, this has become my storage for the things to actually give the trailer the utilities that it needs. So our electricity, the surge protector, the cables, the water filtration system, the hoses, the weight distribution, and all the tools and extra parts that I take and need for the full-time living, they come with me on the back of this trailer, and we keep them out of the weather using a deck box. And before I get into accessories, I'll talk to you a little bit more about the cost and stuff. All right, so when I went and found the good old boy who works on the trailers, he put this thing together for us for $275. That's it. It took him roughly about 2.5 to 3 hours. He welded it up in the morning, called me by lunch and said, come get your trailer. Now, to put that in perspective, you can go to some place like E-Trailer, who does a great job selling these 2-inch receiver hitches. I really like those. I think that was a good option, but it didn't do really what I needed it to do, which is be robust enough that it can be my full-time storage and a workbench for me when I am at a site. Not necessarily going down the road and traveling. I can make things work because we got a toy hauler section. But specifically, being at a site, carrying the stuff, and having a place to store outside in the weather, sort of. So, E-Trailer, once again, you can get one of those cargo 2-inch receivers. Those run you between $250, $300. They're only rated for 500 pounds. I wouldn't have any problem putting nearly 750 to 900 pounds on this right now. The way it sits with the jacks down, of course, not going down the road. Now, weight. The whole thing, before we put it on or welded onto these C-frames, I welded this piece, which is the C channels that came out, the actual deck itself, and the bumper. But I didn't do any of the accessories that are attached to it. That weighed close to about 70 pounds. When I put everything on top of it now, to include all the accessories, I get close to about 100. With a spare tire and the frame that mounts the spare tire, I'm probably close to about 140. And then I'll say throw in another 10 to 15 pounds just for good measure. So we're looking at a solid 150 pounds to 160 pounds of weight added to the rear of the trailer that goes down the road. Now, that's when I'm going down the road, 150 pounds, worst case scenario. To put that into perspective, I have to do things to the front of the trailer to adjust the tongue weight to make sure that I don't ever have too much weight in the back. So I'll put heavier things inside the actual trailer on the cargo deck, or inside the toy hauler, sorry. Okay, so when I'm all up and loaded here with the cargo deck box, with the spare tire, with the bikes, with the generator, I'm sitting about 400 to 450 pounds on a good day. Now that's just us sitting with the jacks down, not moving. Accessories. I have 3 accessories on here. I have the deck box. A lot of people have said, where'd you get the deck box? It is a standard deck box you can get from Lowe's. It measures 48 inches wide, roughly 30 inches.
I'm going to the sailor.
Okay, see ya. Love you. Sorry, deck box. The deck box is something you can get from Lowe's. It measures 48 inches wide, 30 inches in width, and about 2 feet deep. Now, that's perfect for us. It keeps everything that I need out of the weather that needs to be out of the weather, and when I'm going down the road, it keeps things from blowing around. You can get it from Lowe's for roughly $90. It's made out of some preformed plastic, and it staffs together pretty good. It's got good UV resistance. I think we got ours for around $90. I'll try to find it and throw it in the link below. Next up, 2-inch receiver for a 4-inch square tube. I got this from etrailers.com. They're abundant and everywhere. They don't really go so far to say how much weight you can or cannot put on it. They always say, hey, call your manufacturer and ask how much weight you can put on your bumper. Which brings me to my next point. I didn't trust the manufacturer with the bumper. So we ended up adding, I don't know if you can see it from this angle, we ended up adding a plate to the bumper and we welded it all the way around, so another 180 degrees. So I have an additional weld here for this piece and on the other side. So that way I don't have to worry about anything torquing or twisting on the back of the manufacturer's bumper and basically shearing off this what I consider to be relatively thin walled metal. But the 2-inch receiver bumper, it's roughly, I can't remember, 50 bucks or so. You can use it for just about anything you want to add to, that you can use off of your vehicle for 2-inch receiver to your bumper of your RV. It's a fantastic idea. We use ours for the bicycle rack. So we have a 3-station bicycle rack. We throw it on there. We go down the road with it sometimes, but usually that's once again those short stops. The long trips, it comes out. It just has some issues with the longness of it. Basically, I'm worried about it hitting or scraping something. We'll go into that in a sec. The next piece, this came from the manufacturer. This is the spare tire mount carrier. It mounts to the 4-inch bumper. We put it right up here next to the plates just to give it a little bit more strength. Yeah, enough said about that. So those are my 3 accessories: deck box, spare tire carrier, a 2-inch receiver, which is currently holding our bicycle rack. Okay, so we talked about the size, we talked about the cost, the weight, the empty and loaded, difference between being loaded at a campground, being loaded going down the road. The accessories we have: a deck box, 2-inch receiver, and a 4-inch spare tire mount. Okay, so now let's talk about the good versus the bad. The good piece here is that it gives me, a person who's taken a trailer who would have done just fine in a weekend setting and turned it into a full-time setting. It just wasn't ready to take on that load. So I needed this storage configuration to be able to make it full-time capable. Now I have a place to store my generator, store tools, extra parts, hoses, electrical cables, just all the knickknacks that I usually would have space for if I was just weekending, that I no longer have because Heather's taking over all the spots. The bad stuff. The bad stuff for us is the weight. Once again, this changes the way your trailer tows down the road. It also changes how you can go up and down certain types of hills now. That really is making it difficult, and you have to kind of relearn not only how to drive the trailer, but also the balancing of the trailer so you can go down smoothly down the road without too much sway. I will caveat, I have a video coming out about sway. I hope you guys look for it. It's scary yet insightful. All right, so that's the good, that's the bad. One last plug on bad, and I will say this: the manufacturer bumper, I would have changed this. I would have taken it from over here and rotated it out to here. Reason being is it would have given me a little more ground clearance as I went over some hills. However, I've never hit it, not once. I've come close, but the low point on the trailer, believe it or not, is the actual jack stands. The manufacturer location has hit, and if you watch the video from us getting a flat tire in Atlanta, we actually lost our jack going down a small little hill, and it just drug it all the way out. So the jacks themselves are the low points on the trailer, which I guess is nice because I'd rather the trailer drag a jack, which is a $20 to $30 part, versus dragging my bumper and tearing it off. Alright guys, well thanks so much for watching. If you have any questions or comments, or you have any suggestions, please feel free to throw them below. And as always, hit that subscribe button. Look forward to talking to you. Thanks for watching.